Uh-oh.
Hey all. Today I want to tell you about Baruuk Prime. And the point here is not so much that the Prime version is stronger, but that it is rather problematic to assemble an ordinary Baruuk. Its parts blueprints require Sala Calda and Vega toroids. And getting them is not the easiest thing to do. Honestly, I'll tell you, I immediately went to obtain the Prime version. And so Baruuk Prime. What can this monk do? Don't care about any threat. His first ability, Elude, avoids any damage while the Warframe is not attacking. The angle at which damage is ignored depends on the range and can become 360 degrees at 200 range. The ability is Streaming. Also increases the radius of the third ability while active. And depletes the Restraint Gauge by 1.2% for each hit that was avoided. Restraint is a resource unique to Baruuk that provides up to 50% damage reduction when the meter is completely depleted. Restraint meter is displayed in the lower right on the HUD above the ability icons. Baruuk is also able to sing a lullaby to his enemies. His second ability, Lull, creates a radial wave that slows and puts enemies to sleep. Sleeping enemies are open to melee finishers. Also reduces the restraint bar by 0.8% per affected enemy. As an ardent opponent of violence, Baruuk crushes the weapons of his enemies. The third ability, Desolate Hands, creates a ring of daggers flying around the Warframe. Their number depends on strength. One dagger is spent to break the enemy's weapon. Also, each dagger flying around Baruuk reduces incoming damage by 10% up to 90%. Up to 5 more daggers can be given to nearby allies without consuming your own supply. Each weapon broken by a dagger reduces the restraint gauge by 1.6%. Fear the wrath of the patient. When restraint is low enough, Baruuk can activate his fourth ability, Siren Storm, which utilizes restraint instead of energy to cast and maintain. Using this ability refills restraint meter by 4% on activation and by 0.8% per second until the ability is deactivated. This ability summons a special melee weapon, Desert Wind, and while active it gives an additional 25% reduction in incoming damage. It can be raised up to 40%. Normal attacks create a wave of wind in the direction of the scope, which extends for 20 meters. Waves have the same base damage as melee attacks. The wind waves have a piercing through and can hit enemies and objects within the wave's travel distance. Wave damage does not decrease with distance. Modes do not affect the range of waves and their speed of flight. Enemy projectiles colliding with waves are guaranteed to be redirected to their original direction. Damage is affected by strength, combo counter, mods and buffs. However, the combo meter does not fill up from wind waves, but only from punching or kicking an enemy. And here is today's build. I used the Augment mod for the fourth ability. It increases status chance by 250% and deals damage to enemies with the type of damage they have the least resistance to. Arcane Fury will increase the damage of melee weapons, and Molt Augmented will increase strength, which will give more damage, more daggers, and therefore less need to renew Desolate Hands. Arcane Shards increase critical hit damage, and one increases ability casting speed. The school is needed Naramon. Primary and secondary dexterity, both maximum ranks, have been inserted into the primary and secondary weapons, which will increase the duration of the combo by 15 seconds. The weapon itself isn't important, but if you're having trouble with occult violence, get something stronger. Companion is also of your choice. Utters a Cavet can increase critical chance, and Panzer Vulpafilla will give viral status. Pretty much the same build I use for Arch and Hunting. The only difference is that I replace Lull with Gloom. This allows you to stand close to the Archon and slow him down without fear of being killed. It's time to finally get to the game. The gameplay is based on the fourth ability. Keep the number of daggers from desolate hands above 9. You can quickly lower the restraint gauge either by standing in a corner and turning on elude, or by using lull on clusters of enemies. As soon as the opportunity arises, activate Serenity Storm. To fill the combo counter, we approach the enemy point blank and hit once, preferably sending him towards the wall so that you can use him as a punching bag and not scatter other enemies. We monitor the restraint bar and empty it periodically by sending enemies to sleep. As you can see, statuses are not a hindrance to us, which means we don't need rolling guard or something like that. Due to all types of protection and damage reduction, we can stand on survival missions for a very long time. And the adaptive damage of our desert wind will allow you to destroy enemies for a long time without problems. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you found it interesting and useful. Subscribe to the channel, put like, leave comments, I will be very grateful. For especially generous people who want to treat me to a cup of coffee, the link is in the description. See you soon.